Hello friends, happy Friday. How is everyone doing tonight? I hope your weekend is off to a great start. Mine is off to a good start. I am tired and grumpy, but we'll try to fix that. It's been I don't know, for some reason it's been a really long week, but happy to be here with you guys tonight and happy to see so many folks joining us already. I've got the Friday 7 Ellie with Haunted Bookshop, as is the tradition. And let's see, we already got a nice crowd assembled, and we got Ron Hardcrackers. How you doing tonight, Ron? Clarence Wood, Jeffrey Feinberg, Steve Russell, Puny Pipe Man, Big Dave. Glad you like the pipes, Dave. They're all pipes that have been restored over the years, or worked on over the years. Steve Russell, I think I got you already, Steve, but good to see you. Tim Fournier, yes, fly Eagles fly indeed. We'll probably be talking about that some more. And there's Kevin Doolin. If all the pipes are loaded with crooner, there's been a lot of crooner smoke this week, I guarantee you that. Michael Case, happy Friday, Michael. The Pipe Ninja, konnichiwa. Rakamas. No, that's not right. Good to see you. MTMTB, George Tiedemann, and Couch. How you doing, Couch? My day is indeed complete now that I have seen Couch. Good to see you guys tonight. It's funny, Pipe Ninja there. Pipe Ninja, I'm allowed to reveal your identity, or are you keeping that a secret? You'll have to let me know. But I've been watching some Japanese stuff on TV, and I've actually been learning a few Japanese words, and I'm really impressed, well, not impressed, but surprised at how many Japanese words are just directly lifted from English, and it's kind of comical. Or it gets to the point where you wonder if they bothered to make words for anything. Like the Japanese word for ballpoint pen is ball pen. And my favorite, the Japanese word for dance party is dance party. I know they've got a word for dance, and I know they've got a word for party, but rather than put those together, they just took dance party as a word. Fascinating. The development of languages is fascinating. Tim says, time for Philly to earn a Super Bowl. I sure hope it happens, Tim. I sure hope it happens. Oh, Pipe Ninja, then I can reveal that is actually my good friend Cliff Higgins in disguise, so don't tell anybody. Little Piper Todd, how you doing? And Lurker Troy is here. Good to see you, Troy. Yes, so yeah, Cliff, if you haven't checked out the Pipe Ninja channel, if you haven't seen it, it's our buddy Cliff Higgins. He's making some new content. I'm looking forward to it. His first video was posted a couple weeks ago. It was a very touching tribute to our dear friend John Harden, Matches 860. Great video, and I'm looking forward to all the stuff that Cliff does. So yeah, I've been in a mood this week, and I'm not exactly sure why. People at work have said things to me like, "Are you okay?" And my personal favorite, "Maybe you should have worked from home today." I haven't been terrible or anything. It's just been, I've either been amusing or grumpy. But I had a doctor's appointment this week. Got very good news back from that. Everything looks good. And for the first time in a heck of a long time, the doctor said to me, "Well, if nothing comes up, I'll see you in a year." I was surprised. I haven't heard that in a long time, so that was great. It was really good to get sort of a clean bill of health, and all was going really well. Couch says he loves everything about Japan, the cars, the denim, their watches, and their women. Wow, I did not know this about you, Couch. There's many things about Japanese culture that I appreciate. And one of my guilty pleasures is I sometimes watch these Japanese animes, not the crazy ones with the busty women and all that, but the ones that are more like movies that are that just happen to be cartoons. Yeah. And I gotta put my glasses on to see some names. There's the Smooth Piper. How you doing, Peter? Good to see you tonight. Mr. Stan J66 says that Korean is similar. I'm assuming you mean in the language? Yes, the French do not dilute the language with foreign phrases, but they're jerks. Peter's got some haunted bookshop in the Friday 7-Ellie, and Big Dave thinks my mood might have been caused by the Chinese balloon. It might have, Dave. It might have. Because I honestly can't pin it down to anything. I had that doctor's appointment on, I forget. Oh, it was Monday. It was Monday. And I actually took the day off on Monday. Not because I had the doctor's appointment. It just made life easier. And I had some extra vacation days to burn up. And, yeah, so I took Monday off. And I was okay then. Great doctor's appointment. And enjoyed the rest of the day. But Tuesday, it's just like this dark cloud came over me. I'm not sad or depressed or anything. I'm just kind of curmudgeon-y. I don't know. It'll pass. Oh, Michael Case collects Japanese art. That's really cool. And Mr. Stan says Japan is super expensive. Interesting. MTMTB is suggesting it might be menopause. Let's hope not. I don't think that's a thing, but... Tim Fournier says, hey. Don't know if you're reacting to something there, Tim. If so, I apologize sincerely. Oh, Tim is French. Oh, that would explain that difficult to pronounce name there, Timmy. Yeah, Michael, I do miss her. That's true. Although I don't think that's why I'm grumpy. I'm just lucky she's not around because she'd throw something at me. The Urban Hermit, how you doing tonight, Everett? Good to see you, buddy. So I got a couple things I wanted to talk about tonight. Everett's got some haunted bookshop at his Friday 7-Ellie. Good deal. Oh, the 6 more weeks of winter that Phil predicted. Well, Big Dave, I would blame that, but it was 54 degrees today. February 10th in Pennsylvania, 54 degrees. We normally are shivering and icebound right now. And I actually sat out on my patio this morning with a pipe. Not for a long time, but just crazy. Armchair Piper, hello there, Ed. Good to see you. And there's Pondering with Pepe's Pipes. One of my favorite names to say. Good to see you guys. Oh, by the way, in addition to the 7-Ellie and Haunted Bookshop, I've got some Stolen Wolf whiskey. This is something I can tell you about. So I probably told you this before, but my wife gets this for me when she's in Pittsburgh because there's a, I don't know, it's a liquor store that sells Pennsylvania distilled spirits, and you can probably get it elsewhere in the state, but they are a local PA distillery, and it's in a place where it's called the Strip District, where her and her sisters like to go shopping. So she always stops and gets me a bottle. But the bottles have been mysteriously, the level in the bottle is dropping much faster than I think can be accounted for by my consumption. And I don't mind that she drinks it, but she tells me she doesn't. So either I'm drinking a lot more than I think I am, or one of the dogs is drinking it, or it's evaporating. I don't know. So, with this in mind, she's in Pittsburgh right now, and she calls me the other day and says, I'm going to go to the Strip District. Do you want me to get you a bottle of your rye whiskey? And just quickly, Kirk from Florida, good to see you, Kirk. And Tim Wiggins, good to see you. The whiskey is very good, Pepe. It's a good rye whiskey. Maybe it's not enough bacon, Ron. I have not had any bacon since she's been gone. Yeah, Tim had a little problem with his car catching fire a couple weeks ago. Hope you've recovered from that, Tim. But that does not happen on cold, rainy days for sure. And there's Harlow Piper, Tramper Scott, and Phil Rivera. Hey, Phil, how you doing? I think we're caught up. So to get back to my story, I'm sorry. I just want to be connected. So she always buys this whiskey for me in Pittsburgh, and I think she drinks it, and she claims she doesn't. So she calls me and she says, "Do you want me to get some more of that whiskey?" And I said, it's pretty expensive, and I seem to be going through it really fast. So I think I'm just gonna get some cheap stuff here at the state store. Don't worry about it. And there was this silence on the phone, and she says, "Are you sure?" I said, "I got you. I got you now." Well, just do whatever you think is best. So we'll see if she comes back with the whiskey, but yeah. Piper on the 45. Hello there. Good to see you. Glad it's still going, Tim. And by the way, Tim, I've been meaning to give you a call, and it seems like we talk on Sundays often, and I keep telling myself I'm going to call Tim this Sunday, and then stuff happens. So I apologize for that. But we got to catch up soon. Doug Owen, how you doing, Doug? Good to see you this evening. Be talking about Doug later on. Something to look forward to, Doug. Yeah, Doug was a gentleman this week. A gentleman. There we go. So among the many things that might have put me in this mood is on my way to work in the morning. Well, in the evening too, but I don't pay much attention because it's on the other side of the road. But in the morning, I drive past 4 farms right in a row. 1, 2, 3, 4. And, there used to be cows in all of them. And then one became a cornfield. And slowly, one by one, they kind of settled down. The one still had a few cows every year, but it was clear that they weren't active working farms. The cornfield was always, but it wasn't a huge cornfield or anything. When we first moved here, the same commute took me past 8 or 9 farms. Most of those were cattle farms. And, it's one of the reasons I loved this area was to see that. And they're now officially all gone. Those 4 farms were all bought up by the same company. And not only did they take out all the farmhouses, which were some beautiful old houses, they've taken out probably a couple of acres of woods that was back behind the farms. And a sign is now up saying townhouses starting in the high 400s, single homes starting in the high 600s. So they're just going to fill these 4 farms in with housing, and not inexpensive housing to boot. So this has me annoyed because I firmly believe that we're not doing enough farming in this country. And to see family farms go under like that is one thing, but to see the land bought up and being used for more townhouses when there are, in other areas, abandoned buildings that could easily be converted into apartments, and it just drives me nuts that we're putting houses on top of valuable farmland. So this has me really, really aggravated, and that might be part of the reason why I'm grumpy this week, because I got to drive past it. But I had a nice experience with it yesterday. Oh, absolutely, Urban Hermit. Yeah, I didn't get a chance to check in on that, but you guys know I took the night off last Friday, and Everett, the Urban Hermit, was kind enough to fill in for me. I hope it went well, buddy. Stanley Smith had his first vapor this week. Well, yeah, I'm glad you enjoyed it there, Stanley. I hope you enjoyed it. Repurposing corn. That's one way to think about it, Phil. I won't embarrass you, Doug. And Tim, that might be the reason. I don't want to get into that. Only 3 thumbs up, ladies and gentlemen. Only 3 thumbs up. Yes, thumbs up help a lot, folks. I got to talk a bit about YouTube too later. Don't let me forget to talk about YouTube. Yeah, Phil, it's disappointing to see that happen. And you know, that means if we're not growing the food here, we're buying it somewhere else, and that's dangerous. Uh, I think we're seeing some repercussions of that today, in fact. Uh, Alan at Pipe Cottage has some great videos on the disappearance of farmland. So, Doug, I'll have to check that out. That sounds like it would be really interesting. There's Sailor smoking some Old Joe Krantz and a 7LA Punto Oro with some Johnny Walker Black on the side. Very nice. Indeed, Big Dave, indeed. Money only respects more money. There. Yep, you got it, Michael. Anyway, so I'm driving home last night, and I'm double annoyed because this is where I first see this sign with the ridiculous prices of the houses. And you know, depending on where you live, that might sound like way too much to spend on a house, or it may sound like a reasonable price. I know the prices vary all over. In this area, that's very much the high end for houses. So these are not affordable housing. At least it's not another 55 and over community, because there's a big problem with, they kept building those and then people started to say, why are we paying taxes? Why are we paying school taxes? And the school boards panicked because gotta have school taxes. So, Bill Gates is buying all the farmland. I know, MTMTB, I know. Did the feed drop, Tim? Sorry about that. I haven't said anything bad yet. Oh, that's funny, Sir Zenith. That is funny. The grandma was, his dad was topping up the whiskey with water. That is funny. Harlow Piper. Yes, the traffic's going to get worse. The water pressure is going to drop. I mean, there's going to be all kinds of things. All kinds of things. So, anyway, there's a difference between foreclosure and sale, Tim. So, we're, what am I talking about? Oh, I'm driving home, and I see the sign, and so that's bothering me, and then the traffic stops. And the reason the traffic stops is they're digging up the intersection so that they can put in new sewer lines or water lines or whatever to support this new housing. And it's the situation where it's rush hour traffic, which isn't terrible in my area, but you know, we're backed way up, and it's like you move 2 car spaces and then you stop and you sit there for a while. And you move 2 car spaces, then you stop and you sit there for a while. So it's taking forever to get up to this intersection. And I'm sitting there, I've got a pipe, smoking Haunted Bookshop. I got the window down about yay much because it's still a little chilly. And just waiting for things to happen. And I see out of the corner of my eye this guy walking across the field. He clearly is working for this company. Looks like a supervisor. He's not like in construction. You know, he's got a button-down shirt and stuff, but looks like a construction associated fellow. And he's got a clipboard and he's walking across the field. And I'm, you know, not happy with any of this. And he, you know, comes to the road and he turns and he's walking up the road in the direction that I'm slowly creeping up. And as he catches up to me, because I'm slowly creeping up, I hear him say through the cracked window, and keep in mind, he's on the other side of the road now. I'm going this way. There's still lane traffic coming this way. So there's, you know, so he yells, "That smells good." And I look out the window and I'm just kind of shocked. So I, you know, waved and he laughed and walked on. Wasn't expecting that. So sit there for a bit longer and then, you know, move up. And eventually I catch up with him again. So I rolled the window all the way down and I yelled out to him, "Hey, are you a pipe smoker?" And he turns around and he says, "Oh, no. I knew a guy who was, though, and he used to smoke cherry pipe tobacco and it smelled so good, but I haven't smelled it in a long time, and now you're smoking something that smells good too, and you know, you don't see many folks with a pipe. I think you're the only 2 I ever knew." And I said, yeah, there's not many of us. And he said, well, keep it up. And I waved and he waved and walked on. And it's funny how a little interaction like that can take you from these jerks to, you know, people are people. They're just doing their job. It just humanized the situation. So that was quite nice. I need my thinner tamper to get down in here. Ron is smoking a new to him Dr. Grabo Starfire brush finished author shape filled with Hearth and Home Prince Andrew. Taking a liking to Starfire. Yeah, those are nice. Those were nice Grabos. I repaired a few of those, and that has the Adjustomatic stem, if I'm not mistaken. Ron, those are nice. 600,000 will get you a decent apartment in South Korea? That doesn't sound... Oh, much more expensive. I thought you said much less expensive there, Mr. Stan. Yeah, that is expensive for sure. Andrew Sirigliano, good evening to you, sir. Good to see you tonight. Doug's asking if anyone's tried the C&D small batch folklore. I personally, Doug, I do not chase the small batches, and I'm not going to buy a small batch that's only sold in 1 pound bricks, so no. Dry Fly Fisher 11, how you doing tonight, buddy? Good to see you. Michael Case says there were a lot of pipe smokers. It wouldn't be special now, would it? Indeed. And yes, if more people smoked pipes, there would be less stress in the world. Big Dave, you got that right. Okay, yeah, Ron, those are pretty cool. Those Adjustomatic stems. Harlow Piper says he's smoking some old Gowrie on a homemade. Nice. Lord Hogarth, loved last year's folklore, still have most of it. Didn't get this year's edition. Oh, Steve Russell, that's funny. If you don't remember, I own a canoe that's stuck in Pittsburgh. Steve says I should ask him to use one of their tractors to bring my canoe home. That's funny. Voodoo07 says yes on the folklore, let it age. There's some good advice. There's Kevin Doolin. Houston, Texas, new homes range from 300 to 400K for starter. 3-bedroom, 2-bath, 1,800 square feet. Now that's probably comparable to here. Tim's saying you can still make a claim on some unincorporated land in northern Canada and live off the grid. Yeah, but Tim, then you'd be living in northern Canada. Mr. Stan says healthcare is very affordable in Korea. Well, that's a plus. By the way, speaking of dry fly fisher and my buddy Michael Case, I've got the trout Zippo tonight that Michael gave me, and one of my favorite lighters, in part because it's a Zippo, but in part because it's from a good friend. And Michael, I will do that Scripto video. I will. Georgina says he's smoking northwoods on his deck with gentle flakes passing while watching this. That sounds downright scenic there, Sir Zenith. Hope you're warm, though. Oh, Everett got a pound of Morley's Best. Nice. I know, Everett, I know. I was joking. Now, Tim is saying Northern Canada is away from all the crazy, right after Everett is saying he lives in Northern Canada. Yeah, Doug, Everett's told me what the temperatures are like there some days, and I'm not man enough to live in Northern Canada. He's a better man than I. That's true, Michael. And I've got 10 acres in Vermont, and I've got no plans of living there. Good point, Kevin. I think they do have bears up there. Everett, are there bears in your neck of the woods? There you go, Tim. Everett says there's a lot of bush in Canada. Patrick Grant, how you doing, Patrick? It is a trout, Peter, on the Zippo, and thanks everybody that admired the Zippo. I love that lighter. Patrick Grant, I got to remember to mention your video the other day. I will do that because there's a really cool International Pipe Smoking Day event. Contradiction in terms. Everett is a better man than me. Also, 25 degrees, and I run the yeah. I know, Doug. I know, but it's also part of getting older, isn't it? I mean, I can't stand, like today it was 54 degrees and I'm sitting out there for like 5 minutes. I'm like, why am I doing this? It's freezing. But it was sunny. Vermont does have a lot of nice breweries, a couple good distilleries too, Harlow Piper. I like Vermont, I just don't like the weather. Sailor, I agree with you to an extent that the problem is with the sellers, not the developers. But there's two problems with that logic. So he's saying that if it's a legitimate transaction and the farm owners sell their farms, then it's not it's the farmer's fault. And yes, to an extent, but there's two problems with that. One is we do not value farming in this country, and we're not doing enough to help farmers be successful at farming. It's a very expensive, very risky, very labor-intensive occupation that just isn't valued. Second, a lot of these are family farms, and it's a situation where the kids don't want to do it. So the farmers are not in any way incentivized to continue farming. And then the developers are coming in, and because of these exorbitant housing prices and because they're allowed to pack these things in so tightly, and I mean, it is ridiculous what they're calling single homes these days where there's barely enough space to walk between them. They're able to offer an exorbitant amount of money for this land. And I just can't in good conscience blame the farmers for not accepting that under the current conditions. I don't know what the solution is to that, and you're technically correct, Sailor. It is the farmer's fault for selling, but I can't hold a grudge against them for doing it. I also don't hold a grudge against the developer. I really don't. I understand that that's their business, and that's what they're trying to do. I hold a grudge against our society for not valuing farming more. That's enough soapbox for one night. It would be a good place to fish, Tim, but I'm still not going to try to pronounce that. Dry fly fishers north of Canada and southeastern Michigan. Yep. Oh, Paul, I'm sorry to hear that, and don't be embarrassed. I mean, we all have troubles in life, and that's nothing to be embarrassed about. Paul Johnson says that his son has a drug problem, and he's in a recovery center, but has decided not to stay and needs prayer. And absolutely, Paul, I will pray for your son and for your family, and I ask everyone else to pray or send good thoughts in Paul's direction and for Paul's son. That's a hard thing to go through, Paul. And yeah, I know I've had not relatives but friends in that situation, and it's very difficult. So God bless you, and you definitely have prayers. And don't feel embarrassed. Michael K says if he lived in Vermont, he would need the distillers and breweries. Yep. Yeah, Sir Zenith, that's an interesting approach. It's protected in Quebec, the farmland. Here we have farms can apply for a protected status where the state will actually buy the farmland, and you and your family can continue to live on it as long as you farm it. So that is one option that farmers have, but of course the state isn't paying anywhere near what the developers are. Sorry, I'm way behind in comments here. Yeah, Brian, I am absolutely certain that the developers are not losing money in that transaction. But what are you gonna do? Ford Smoking Pipes, how you doing there? Why can't we reclaim and redevelop instead of always? Yeah, that's one of the things that bothers me too. Breaking new ground for yet another strip mall or store. I can't tell you how many times recently I have seen them building a new strip mall across the street from an abandoned strip mall. It's just crazy. Steph Skip, how you doing there? Good to see you. I think Skip is out to sea right now, Steph. Is that right? So I hope you're well, and I hope Skip is well as well. A lot of wells in that, but they were heartfelt. So let me tell you about Patrick Grant's video, and it's Patrick Grant 2112. You can see him there in the comments. If you haven't seen Patrick's channel, go check it out, and you can see this recent video he put up. There's going to be, if you're in the New York City area or close enough to get there, there's going to be an International Pipe Smoking Day event on, I guess it's next Saturday, which would be the 18th, right? Patrick, correct me if I get any of this wrong. It's at a pipe shop in New York called, I think it's Rex Barclay. And if you Google New York City International Pipe Smoking Day, which is how I found it after I saw Patrick's video, you'll find it. Rex Barclay has a Facebook page, and they have information about this event. Looks like it's going to be a lot of fun. It's from 1 to 6 p.m. True traditional brick and mortar pipe shop with their own tobaccos and everything. $25 admission fee, but you can pay that $25 can be used towards any purchase that you make. Looks like it's going to be a really good time, and there's going to be folks there from the New York Pipe Club, including Patrick, I'm assuming. I wish I could make it. I'm going to try, but it's not looking good right now, just with other stuff going on. But just wanted to pass that along. So if you're within a commuting distance, something worth looking into. There you go. He's put the address into the comments. Barclay Rex. I was close. Yeah. So check that out. It really does look like a great time if you're in that area. February 18th. Tim says you can fix the farming issue with one word: starvation. Yeah, unfortunately, we haven't gotten to that word yet for most people, but we have gotten to the word inflation, which is severely affecting food prices because a lot of our food has to be shipped a lot further than it needs to be. Anyway, I don't want to get into all this, Tim. Or anyone. Sorry, didn't mean to pick on you there, Tim. Andrew Galloway is asking if that is Bill Cooper in that picture behind me. That, I'm not seeing the live screen here. That picture, now I'm looking at a different screen. That is Bela Lugosi. Big Dave wants to know what's up with Fetterman. I don't know. Apparently he's back in the hospital. I don't know. Again, not something I want to get into tonight. You know, Artie, I get it. It is difficult. I mean, I see help wanted signs everywhere. Um, you go into restaurants and there's nobody there. There's like maybe one other couple waiting, and they say, oh, it's going to be a 20-minute wait. Why is it going to be a 20-minute? We don't have enough waitresses. I don't understand. Like, where did all the people go? And he's saying it's because McDonald's and places like that are offering $20 an hour, and that's easier. Well, I don't know, Artie. I've worked at McDonald's through high school and college, and I certainly never made $20. I think I was making at the most like $6 an hour. I would have much rather worked in a transmission shop. That sounds like it would have been a lot more fun. But yeah, I get it. Kids today. Entering cranky old man mode. Bob says hello from France. How you doing, Bob? He's got an RM. He's got Robert McConnell's Scottish cake going tonight. Very good. Very good. Tim's just another Charlie Brown. Gotcha, Tim. Codger Jim says no one wants to be a craftsman anymore. Well, they don't teach that stuff in school anymore. They stopped teaching shop. Now everything is you know what? I'm not going to get into this. I don't want to. Like I said at the beginning, if you tuned in late, I've been in a very grumpy, curmudgeon-y mood all week, and I'm trying to break out of it, and I just don't want to go down that road. I don't want to get out my old man shouting at a cloud soapbox. So let's move on. And I'm out of Haunted Bookshop, which is good because it lets me change the subject. I've got to smoke something else. Somebody asked, it's Puny Pipe Man asked about the pipe on the bench behind me. That is a Bing's favorite that has a cracked shank. So I've actually got it glued up. You can see there's tape on there. And I'm going to be putting a gold band on it. I've got a couple of those here. Hopefully you can see. And I'm doing that for a friend who is actually in the audience. If he wants to identify himself, he can. You guys know I haven't been doing pipe repairs. I closed the pipe repair business, but I still do stuff for friends now and then. And got some thoughts around that I'll talk about more. What time is it? Oh, we got time. But I got to load another pipe. So I picked this out today, and I'm very happy I did. I've got the Boswell Calabash here. Wonderful pipe from my buddy Jack Kurtz, who I got to get in touch with. I try every 2 weeks pretty much, and I can never get him on the phone. I hope he's just having a very active life, but I can never get him on the phone. Oh yeah, Doug, we would never do that. No French jokes here. Couch is listening outside, smoking Key Largo and a cob while typing on a Mac. Well, sorry about that. Hope you're warm at least. Andrew Galloway has squadron leader in a Mark Tinsky. Wayne, sorry Wayne, I can't read your last name. Bennett. Good to see you, Wayne. Same up here in Ontario. Every store and business can't get help. Help wanted signs everywhere. Yeah. Brian Woodward, I could go into a rant about that, but I'm not going to. And yeah, Steph, I agree. We need lighthearted fun right now, so that's what we're going to do. We're going to switch over into lighthearted fun mode. And yeah, Big Dave, this is a pipe. This is a large pipe. And I'll tell you something funny. This is one of those stupid pipe tricks. I got my thumb stuck in this pipe today. It turns out I can, if I do it right, that one's not going to work. My thumb just fits in there. I don't want to drop it. It fits in there so that it's actually, but if I turn my thumb, it goes in further, and then if I turn it slightly, it's stuck. And I don't do this consciously, but I'm walking around with this pipe and my thumb slipped in there, and I started to panic a little bit because I couldn't get the pipe off my thumb. I just had to turn my hand a bit and it did come off. Anyway, in the calabash, Mike's stupid pipe tricks for the night, I have a blend here from my buddy Doug at the cargo hold, Doug Owen, and this is called Virginia Gentleman. And I've had 4 or 5 bowls of this, and it's nice stuff. It's not my usual smoke, to be honest, but it's something I really like as a change of pace. Doug said it's a burley. I got his note here. I can actually read it and tell you what he said, rather than try to remember it. Virginia Burley and Orientals, and I think it's in that order. It's a very Virginia forward Virginia Burley blend, and the Orientals are just enough there to let you know they're there, but not in any way overpowering. Reminds me a lot of Cornell and Deal's Orion Arrow. I don't think that it is that. It's not exactly the same, but it's reminiscent of that. So if you've ever had Orion's Arrow, this is a similar blend in my opinion, and I like it. It's like I said, it's a nice change of pace. Not an everyday smoke for me, but it certainly could be an all-day smoke if you're a Virginia fan. The Virginias are stout. The Burley helps with that, of course, but it's not that bright, tangy Virginia. It's more of a, I think there's some bright Virginia in there, but it's definitely the red Virginia are coming to the forefront in it, and I like it. Pipe thumb cuffs, indeed, Ford. Oh, that can't be true, Doug. Doug wants to do a poll. Has anyone else ever gotten their thumb stuck in a pipe? Ever, the tobacco is called Virginia Gentleman, and it's from the cargo hold. Yeah, it's really nice stuff, and it likes this pipe. I've smoked it, like I said, this is 4 or 5 bowls now, and I've probably had it in 3 different pipes. And actually, the first pipe didn't seem to like it very much. Not sure why. But that happens sometimes. And it's funny, sometimes it'll be very consistent. Sometimes I'll go back to that pipe with the blend and it's fine. So, I don't know. Oh, it does come from C&D. Interesting, Doug. I think this is mainly red Virginias. Yeah, I agree with it's mainly red. I do get a little bit of tanginess, but yeah, what do I know? Ah, Armchair Piper says, speaking of lighthearted, Dr. Bo says hi. Yeah, Ron, that'll do it, won't it? Uh, Talking about local egg sellers, amazing. You know, one of the things that I'm fascinated by in this area is we still do have active farms. We belong to a CSA, which is it supports a local farm, and I think that's a great thing for farms to do, and you know, we benefit from it greatly. There are also some farms that will like raise cattle and sell beef, raise chickens and sell chicken, you know, that kind of thing, turkeys. And one of the farms has, actually several of them sell eggs. And what's been really interesting is you go to the grocery store and there's been this crazy increase in the price of eggs. You go to the farm store and they haven't changed. And I think it's because they're local. They're not subject to those same pressures. And at least these folks are being scrupulous, not unscrupulous. I guess that's scrupulous. I never thought about it that way, but um, they're doing it right. You know, they're not raising the price just because they can. They're keeping it at what they need to keep it at to make a fair profit, and I think that's wonderful. Tim, are you quoting Airplane? I'm special. Okay, Ford. Okay. Oh yes, the hot embers in the lap when driving is very exciting, Doug. I've certainly had that happen. Gary Edminster just loaded his Peterson house pipe with vanilla custard and has a large beer. Very nice, Gary. Very nice. Big Country Briar, how you doing, Cole? Local CSA just told us that it's dropping the number of homes in half. Really? That's interesting. Yeah, it might be because of staffing. It's hard for our CSA to get people. Um, they actually have a program where they have workers come in from all over to stay there. They have housing for them, and they stay there for the summer and work. And they have volunteers come in and everything. They have difficulty getting people to work. So the reason why Doug passed along this, I keep wanting to say country gentleman, Virginia gentleman. I want to either call it country gentleman or gentleman caller, both of which are clearly wrong. Uh, Virginia gentleman was he included it in a box he sent me with a pound of haunted bookshop. And the reason Doug sent me a pound of haunted bookshop is we had a little bet on the series between the Cardinals and the Phillies, the divisional championship series, and I won. To be quite honest, I didn't expect to win that one, so it was kind of be quiet, Google. It was kind of surprising, and you know, Doug, man of his word, actually sent me not only did he send me a pound, but he sent me it in 2 8-ounce tins, which you know it, I don't know why he chose that route because it's the more expensive route. But Doug, I appreciate it because now that can go directly into my cellar, and I don't have to put it in jars or anything. So yeah, very very nice. So Doug, thank you for keeping up your end there, and for the extra here. I offered to go double or nothing with the Chiefs and the Eagles, and he didn't want to do it. So Doug says he's got difficulty getting health because you need expertise to work in his shop. And yeah, I get that. I mean, there are some. So there's a machine shop that I drive past in the morning. I don't know why I always say in the morning. I drive past it in the evening too. And they've had a help wanted sign up for years. They're looking for lathe and mill operators. And, you know, I get that they're having trouble because there's not a lot of those people around anymore. But then you go to a restaurant, which doesn't, not to in any way slight people that work in restaurants, but it doesn't require that much skill to wait on tables. You can learn it pretty quickly. Or you go to a department store and you have to wait in a line that's 10 people deep because they only have one cash register open. Oh, I'm doing it again. Sorry, we're being lighthearted. It probably is not a coincidence, Andrew, that we do not have Pennsylvania, New Jersey, or New York gentlemen. I don't even want to think about what New Jersey gentleman tobacco would taste like. Oh, Doug, I do appreciate it, but you could have waited. I feel bad because that was a lot more expensive. But don't worry, I have something special for you I'm working on. Actually, I don't want to give it away. That, you, you'll see it when it's done. So we talked about that. What else is... Am I behind on anything? Was I in the middle of a story or something? Bob, we've talked about Bear Pipe many times. He just seems to have stopped making videos. Wonderful guy, great channel. I do miss his videos. Andrew Galloway says New Jersey gentleman would taste like old shoe polish. It's not a canoe, Steve. Ah, boy, you know, you get one canoe stranded in Pittsburgh and you're labeled for life. Yeah, Andrew, I know what you mean. You know, I got into science because I liked experimenting, and when I kind of grew up in labs, we did a lot of, you know, we built equipment. We actually handmade a lot of the apparatus that we used because you couldn't buy it. You know, you couldn't buy it, and now everything's a kit. And sometimes I go into the lab to help someone, and I'll show them how to do something the way that I know how to do it, and they'll look at me like I'm crazy. Like, you know, why would you don't? Why don't you just buy it? It and I miss that aspect of what I do, and I think that's one of the reasons why I like doing pipe work or just woodworking and things. I think working with your hands, there's something very special about that. And I think especially for men are, for whatever reason, just driven to do that. Armchair Piper says the Jersey tobacco tastes like pork roll. Could be. Instead of bacon old fashioned, they have pork roll old fashioned. Ah, Tramper Scott is asking if I've decided anything about reopening the shop for limited work. I do think I'm going to do it, Scott, and it's one of the things I wanted to talk about. It's kind of related to the YouTube thing, not too much, but yeah. So I've been thinking, I was working on this, uh, for whatever reason, that thing is very sensitive tonight. I was working on this Bing's favorite that I showed you a few minutes ago, and I was thinking I just miss doing this kind of stuff, but I had to stop because it was just stressful. I had at one point, was it last year? It was actually the year before last that I decided to stop, I think, or towards the end of that year. I had like 20 some pipes in the drawers over here, waiting for me to work on them, and I just felt terrible about that. It was just so much pressure to get this stuff done. And the reason was that 90% of them needed new stems. And stems, I'm slow making stems. I think it's because I'm careful. I think I do really good work, but I won't rush it. And I don't have 8 hours a day to do this. I sometimes don't have any time a day to do it. So I decided to stop because of that. I just didn't have the time to do it in a way that I like doing it, and they could turn it around fast enough so that folks could get their pipes back in a timely fashion. But I was thinking the other day, I miss doing the work, but I don't want it to ever be that stressful again. And I do want to continue playing with pipe making. I do want to continue doing woodworking and all those things. So I don't want it to become this all-consuming. Every time I come down here, I got to work on a pipe. But there are things that I could do. Like I could do just cleaning and reaming. That doesn't take a lot of effort, and I can offer. The other thing is pricing. I can offer that at a reasonable price and not feel like I'm losing money. I was making stems. I think I was charging $45 for a replacement stem, and between the cost of the material and the time, I was losing money doing it. Mostly from the time. I mean, the material wasn't that expensive, and I didn't feel like I could charge more than that. Who's going to pay $90 to have a stem replaced on a Dr. Graybow? Yet that Dr. Graybow belonged to the guy's grandfather, and he really wants to smoke it again. So fortunately, I found a couple of people that do that kind of stem work very quickly and very well, and they're well respected, and I could refer folks to them. Tim West is one of them, and Jim Finn, Premium Polished Pipes, is the other. And they do great work, and they were happy to take on folks, and that's good. But then, I got this itch. So I was thinking maybe I could do like cleaning and reaming, that kind of thing. And then what I've been thinking about calling a pipe tune-up. And the idea here is that you get a factory pipe, and even a high quality factory pipe, there are issues with it. It's not made the way an artisan pipe is made. Because it's a factory pipe. It's not supposed to be. But there's discontinuities in the airway. The end of the tenon isn't funneled. The end of the airway here isn't funneled properly. Usually they're just cut with a circular cutter, and then you got a straight line coming into that. There's all these places where you can get turbulence in the airflow. And I've experienced how much you can benefit a pipe by just fixing those things. And it takes time. You have to be careful. You need to have the right tools for it, but it's not, like I'm going to have to take a month to do it on a pipe. So maybe I could offer something like a pipe tune-up package, a ream and clean package, those sorts of things. Maybe do some refinishing, banding of a cracked shank, but not stem replacements. I'm not going to do stem replacements. So I haven't yet, taken the leap, thrown the switch, whatever you do. But I'm seriously considering doing that. So thank you for asking, Scott. Hope I didn't babble on too much about that. Yeah, Doug, I think a lot of repair guys, and there's nothing wrong with this, but a lot of repair guys are using prefabricated stems. So that really cuts down on the amount of work they have to do. I could do that, but I just don't like to do it. I, and it's probably because I'm not right up here, but I can't just sand down a prefabricated stem and send it back to someone. I feel like if I'm going to put a new stem on a pipe, I've got to make it a good stem. So I've got to fix the airway and do all those things that I was just talking about on the pipe tune-up. And that, it turns out, it took me longer to start with a prefabricated stem and both fit it and then do all that stuff to it than it would take me just to start with a rod of vulcanite and make a new stem. So it never made sense for me to do that. But there are guys that can do it really fast. And you know, you're getting something comparable to a factory stem when they do that. But it's, you know, it's fine. It's a good option, and they can do it cheap. Oh, that's okay, Couch. I can show it. Nothing's changed. It's still taped up. And I showed the bands. I just don't know if the owner wants me to say who it belongs to, so I didn't do that. Yeah, Patrick, I hate the. I think you're right, and it's a negative. He's saying I'm a perfectionist. It's a negative because I just told someone in work today, perfection is the enemy of good enough. And you know, there are some things where it's okay to be good enough in, other things where it's not. So where do you draw that line? You know, one of the things that I'm learning as I'm getting back into woodworking and doing some of this stuff for this piece of shop furniture that I'm making. Like, I'm cutting dovetails. Excuse me, I'm cutting dovetails for the carcass of this case of drawers that I'm making. And a lot of you guys are saying, shop furniture, why are you cutting dovetails? Just screw it together. Yeah, I could, but I like cutting dovetails. I enjoy it. But do those dovetails have to be furniture quality? Do they have to be, you know, gapless and perfect? And no, they don't. And you know, it's a slow process to learn where that line is, where you don't want it to, you want it to be structurally sound and you want it to not look awful, but it doesn't have to be perfect. So it's a lot of fun. Oh, Tim, I forgot. You know, I as I was starting tonight, I realized I didn't get out my Eagles banner, and I could have gotten out the Roger Goodell sticker. Yeah, I'm sorry. That would have been great. Yeah, I was just rushed tonight. I wish I could have prepared more for this and made it more of a NFL Eagles centric kind of thing. But hey. All right, Pepe, you have a good night too, my friend. Yeah, I'm definitely going to dovetail the drawers, Tim, but this is just for the carcass. Like the top of the unit is going to be dovetailed into the sides, and then the bottom's going to be in a housing data. Yeah, I could do mortise and tenon, although I think the dovetail's a better option for this, Tim. But yeah, it could be. Could be. So I'll tell you a bit about what happened with YouTube. You probably noticed that the little tip button isn't there anymore. I always had mixed feelings about that tip button. I reluctantly turned it on just because I wanted to start to upgrade equipment and get a better microphone and things like that, and I did, and so it helped with that a lot. Bought another camera, so it really did help with that. But I noticed, I think on the best night maybe there was a total of $40 in tips, and most of the time it was something like $5, $10. Well, actually, when there were tips, most of the time it was nothing, and that was fine. I never tried to push it. I didn't want it to be, the reason I was doing this or anything like that. If somebody felt like they wanted to throw a tip in there, I appreciated it, but I wasn't gonna push it ever. And but I noticed over time that YouTube gives you this running projection of what your monthly earnings are if you're monetized. And by the way, I figured it out, and I on average made about $12 a month from YouTube over the past 3 years. I think maybe it's been monetized, maybe 2 years. $12 a month. So that tells you how successful the monetization is. But it was something. It occasionally bought a tin of tobacco. It helped me get better equipment for the live stream and so on. So I noticed over time that if I'd check it on Thursday or Friday before the show, and it would say, your monthly projection is $16. And then I'd get $5 in tips that Friday. And then I'd look at it on Saturday, and it would say your monthly projection is $14. And the projection always dropped by enough to offset the tips, which I thought was really unusual. It was like they were keeping the money for themselves, the advertising money, and replacing it with the tip money. And I never really looked into it enough to know if that's their policy or not, but it kind of bugged me that they were doing that. Anyway, I got an email from them, I guess it's 2 weeks ago now, saying your channel is no longer eligible for monetization because it is promoting dangerous practices. And then it listed a series of things, and it was like, it was terrible, like violence and hate speech and drug abuse and tobacco. And I said, is this something I want to fight? Because it said you can request it, and I could have argued, well, we're social. This is a pipe club. We're not really promoting tobacco use. These are all people that are already pipe smokers. Who knows? I might have won. I might have lost. And I just said, you know what? That's enough. It's not worth it for $12 a month. It's not worth it because it's aggravating you with the ads. Although I'm sure they're still running ads, because they decided about a year ago that they're going to run ads whether you're monetized or not. So I just said, no, that's fine. I'm okay with it. And I got to tell you, the sense of calm and freedom I got when I made that decision to just drop that was unbelievable. Because every time I make one of my Sunday videos, I've got to think to myself, okay, have I talked long enough that I can now mention the pipe and the tobacco? Because if I mention it as soon as I start talking, the video gets flagged, and I get a nasty gram from YouTube saying that I did not correctly identify the video. I don't have to do that anymore. I can say anything I want. I can say words like vaccine now. I'll probably still get something from them, but it's just I'm happy. I'm happier now, and it wasn't worth $12 a month to carry that stress around with me. So I've said this before, and I sincerely believe this. We are fortunate to have YouTube. We are fortunate that we get to do this for free. And the cost of that is advertising and playing by their rules, and I respect that. So that's their rules. I don't agree with their rules, but I respect them for their right to have them. And here we go. So that's the future. And I said that somewhat ties into the pipe business stuff, just because that is a way to kind of offset the cost of the hobby a bit. But it's not the same thing, so I didn't want to make that connection too strongly. Yep, it is crazy, unbelievable. Really, they're bleeping out. Let's try it out, Doug. So they're bleeping out any utterance of Great Reset. Let's see if they take out Great Reset in this video. Lord Hogarth says OnlyFans pays pretty well. Yeah, I don't know. I've heard. I don't know. That's no. That's that platform where girls sell themselves. So they wouldn't like me there, Lord Hogarth. I've got a Rumble channel. It just I was putting stuff up there and nobody was watching it. And the reason I do this is I like the interaction. I like dealing with people. I like the fact that people sometimes contact me outside of these videos. I like the comments. I like the feedback that I get. I like the friends that I've made. And I did the Rumble thing and I wasn't getting any of that. And maybe it's just because there weren't enough people there. Maybe it's because I was cross-posting to both platforms and the people there already saw it here. I don't know, but it was kind of sterile. So I haven't been putting anything up there. Yes, Michael, today is the feast day of Saint Scholastica. Monasticism was the family business. Yes, Saint Benedict's sister, Saint Scholastica, who I grew up despising. Sorry to say that, Saint Scholastica. I can't say that tonight. Because when I was in Catholic grade school, the nuns taught me that Saint Scholastica was the person that invented school. And I didn't want to be in school, so I was mad at Saint Scholastica for doing that. Ford is beeping me, and Doug's saying I got away with it, but Glenn Beck doesn't. Advantages to not being famous, indeed, Scott. Yeah, I honestly, Mr. Stan, I haven't looked at Rumble in a long time. The one thing they didn't have back when I first set up the channel there was live streaming, and I don't know if they fixed that. And there are other platforms to live stream on, but I got a following here, which sounds a bit silly to say, but you guys all show up every Friday, and if I was to suddenly say I'm going to do this on Rumble, I don't know how many of you guys would want to do that. And it's another thing to learn and all that, and it's okay. It's just fine until they kick me off. I'll keep doing this. Well, unless I die first. But. Smooth Piper's pointing out tomorrow is the feast day of Our Lady of Lourdes. Indeed. Tim, why is Battlestar Galactica tomorrow, February 11th? I don't know what that means. Oh yes, Mardi Gras is coming, sailor. Indeed. Well, Andrew, I appreciate that. Yeah, Doug, I love it too, and I do. I do Facebook for the business. At least that's why I did it. But it's honestly just Instagram. I just cross post everything from Instagram goes to Facebook. So I rarely even look at Facebook. I like Instagram. Instagram's a really nice community and a lot of good pipe smoking posts on there. I really do like Instagram. Um, but it's still not as interactive. I'll put up a picture, and granted, maybe my pictures are boring because they're usually pictures of my pipe with a coffee cup behind it. But I'll write something usually, and I'll get one or two comments, and that's nice, and I appreciate them. But it's not the same thing as putting up a video and getting 20 comments, and people saying, "Oh, the way I think about it is this." Usually on Instagram, it's just have a great day, that kind of thing. And to be honest, that's what I do too. I rarely comment on Instagram just because it takes time. I use the little heart button and move on. So, it's just not the same level of interaction that you have here on YouTube. Oh, it rhymes with Scholastica. Gotcha. Gotcha, Tim. Hilarious. Scott says Facebook is a hot mess. Yeah. What's a hot mess lately? Google. Have you noticed you can't find anything anymore on Google? It's the strangest thing. I'm done with the Virginia gentleman. There we go. I got it right. It's the strangest thing. I use Google now and I can't find anything. It's defaulted to almost a full page of ads, which it wasn't before. I mean, you'd see ads, but it wasn't like a full page before you get to actual results. And then the results are just not what I'm looking for, and it's clear, like, I'll search for some, like, something about chisels. I was trying to find information about the steel that old Stanley chisels were made of. And the first 10 results are ads for chisels that have nothing to do, not even an ad for Stanley chisel. That would make sense, but no, these are, Narix and things like that. And then the first 2 or 3 search results, are YouTube videos of popular woodworking YouTube guys talking about how to sharpen chisels. And I had to go like to the second page halfway down before I started to see results that actually made sense. So there's something wrong. Google's broken. Yes, Scott, the predictive text and spell check has been going downhill too. That is funny. That is funny. So I watched a movie last night that's very, very slightly related to this conversation. I just saw Michael Case say I don't use any unsociable media, which is really true. Yeah, I'd like it if Ask Jeeves came back, Kevin. I'd like that. Or Dogpile. It's funny. I remember when Google was like this new thing. Yeah, I'm old. Sailor says Bing is better. I'll have to try that. No, they don't think it's broken, Andrew. So I watched a movie last night, and I'm going to reluctantly recommend this because it did have some unsavory moments in it. It was not a family movie for sure. And not the kind of thing I think... I mean, some of you might not enjoy this movie because of those aspects, but... But it was fascinating. The movie was titled Everything Everywhere at the Same Time, which is hard for me to remember the order there. So it's Everything Everywhere at the Same Time. And it was this fascinating, hard to explain movie that while it was, I don't even know if you could call it science fiction, but there was a science fiction element to it, and it was about this concept of there being a multiverse where there's there's multiple versions of you living in different universes and all experiencing different things, and this was about the ability to jump between those universes, but not really. It was also about a family and their sort of interactions with one another, and you know, husband and wife having difficulties, and a mother and daughter not getting along and stuff. The science fiction was almost like a side story in it, and then it was about a really heavy bagel and a raccoon. So I'm not going to tell you anything more than that, but if you get a chance to see this and you're not put off by some slightly off color, you know, cursing, and there were a few obscene moments in it. If you can handle that, and I'd say that it was like 95% okay, but there was a 5% where I would have been really embarrassed if I had kids and was watching it with them. It was worth watching. Oh, Armchair Piper, you watched Rubber? Oh no. And you survived? Yeah, Doug, I was. It's somewhere between those two extremes. Is that so, Michael? I didn't know that. I don't pay any attention to such things, but Michael's saying it's a nominee for Best Picture. Wow. And Andrew's saying he saw a good movie called The Banshees of Inisherin. Not a family film, but very good. I'll have to look for that. Yeah, I see folks recommending DuckDuckGo, which I have used. Mr. Stan wants to know how old I am. I am 57 years old, Mr. Stan. Jim, are you correcting me? Is it at once, or I thought it was all at once, but I apologize if I got it wrong. Yeah, I agree, Doug. I mean, Killer Shrews you can watch and you can have fun with. Rubber, you have to be in the right frame of mind for Rubber, and a little bit of alcohol in your system probably helps. It was just a bad movie. Um, I mean, the premise is ridiculous. The movie was about a killer tire. Ford says new movies coming out seem to lack heart. The heart, yeah. They lack a lot, Ford. I haven't seen a new movie in quite a while. Oh, we're the same age, Mr. Stan. Well, that's fantastic. Always good to meet folks from the same generation. And Sailor once was 57, so we should start a club. Yeah, Boo Dude. We'll see. We'll see. Yes, Patrick. Christine was not a bad movie about a killer car. This just took it to a bit of an extreme that was hard to believe. especially when you would see the tire like rolling down the road and going to its next victim, and it was just silly. Cocaine Bear, yeah, that is a hilarious story. I obviously I haven't seen that movie. I don't even know if it's been released yet, but I've seen some documentary type things on that, and it's a really funny true story. This bear had a coke problem. Doug's wife does not like killer shrews. Yeah, my wife is funny. There are some. So we watch Svengoolie together, but she'll usually last about 15 minutes, and then she goes up to bed. Uh, Not because she's tired, but because she doesn't want to watch the movie. She's not real good with horror, and she doesn't like alien movies. She doesn't like ghost movies. But sometimes it's like she'll watch Frankenstein with me because Frankenstein's not really realistic enough that you go to bed and can't sleep that night. Uh, so she'll watch some of those sorts of movies with me. Um, but there's a couple that she really didn't like, and one of them was Frogs, which is another horrible movie. No, Bob, I'm sorry. I've switched back to Haunted Bookshop for the last pipe tonight. And this week on Svengoolie, the movie is almost as bad as Rubber. It's Killer Clowns from Outer Space. So if you're a fan of Killer Clowns from Outer Space, Saturday night, I think it's at 8 p.m. on MeTV. Andrew, it's been years since I've seen Midnight Cowboy, but I think I agree with you on that. It was a good movie that had some seedy moments, but yeah. Ford, in the Who Made Who, the Coke machine was a killer. I don't know in the Who. Oh, Who Made Who? Well, yes. Killer Coke machine is silly. Michael Case's ex-wife was Killer Shrew. Oh, you liked Rubber. Okay. Well, you and Dr. Bo are the first two that I've met that admit to that, Ed. Young Frankenstein is a gem, Doug. That is a fine film. Oh, Tokyo Diner is great, Sailor. I watched that whole series. There's like 3 seasons of it. I think I loved that. Uh, that's if you guys haven't seen it and you have Netflix, it's worth looking up. You're talking. Oh wait, I'm talking about Midnight Diner Tokyo. Are we talking about the same thing, Sailor? Uh, I think it was called Midnight Diner or Midnight Diner Tokyo, but it that was a fantastic series. Peter liked frogs. Okay, Peter. We can disagree on that one. Harlow Piper, the story was that they were dropping the cocaine from a plane to be picked up by the local dealers, uh, and the bear got there first. Giant Gila Monster is a good one, Gary. River Wild, I'm not familiar with that one, Sir Zenith. I'll have to check it out. Punk version of the Killer Clown song would be great, Scott. I heard of that, Mr. Stan, the Bela Lugosi comic. Yeah. You're a comic book nerd, Mr. Stan? That's cool. Ford, I've heard good things about the new Top Gun. I haven't seen it. My wife saw it. She liked it. She went while she was in Pittsburgh. Oh, Doug. Well, folks, this has flown by. I'll tell you, it always does. But just starting to get interesting with the movie talk, and we gotta draw it to a close. And I still have a fair amount of whiskey to go, so it's going to take a few minutes. Last movie Steve Russell watched was the original Texas Chainsaw Massacre. Watched it with his wife when they were dating, and they've been married 47 years. Wow, Steve, that is something. Congratulations on that. Stephen King's made some, well, he didn't make the movies, but yeah, there have been some good adaptations of Stephen King's books. Smooth Piper, I agree. Attack of the Mushroom People, that was a classic, Gary. Absolutely, Everett. Thank you for joining us. All right, Ford. Oh, boy. Get some sleep, buddy. They don't have the uncomfortable volleyball scene in the new Top Gun. Well, that's a good thing, Tim. They also don't have Meg Ryan, which is not a good thing. Although, if they had current Meg Ryan, that would not be a good thing either. So. The Big Sleep. Oh, the Robert Mitchum. So that was originally a Humphrey Bogart, wasn't it? Both good movies. All you guys signing off. Have a great weekend. I'm sorry, I'm gonna carry on for a few minutes here. I missed it too, Doug, but I did have a good time with the missus. So thank you guys for coming back after that, and thank you again, Everett, for filling in. Much appreciated. Michael Case, I don't know for certain, but I can't imagine they wouldn't talk about me behind my back. I mean, they're women, right? Oh, that's going to get me in trouble. Yeah, the Bogart version, if I'm remembering that movie correctly, that was a really good movie. And that might have been the first Humphrey Bogart movie I ever saw. Uh, I was young when I saw that. I was probably still in grade school. Yes, go Eagles, Andrew. Thank you. All right, folks. Well, we're going to finish this up. And we are going to draw this to a close. So as always, thank you so much for joining me. I had a great time. Thank you for putting up with the grumpy side of me tonight. I'll try to be more cheerful next week. We will be back next week with more of the same, and I hope you can join us then. This is always the high point of my week, and I'll look forward to seeing you there. I'll be back on Sunday with a video as usual, and that'll be my last Go Eagles before we find out whether or not the Eagles actually go. So, go Eagles! And to all you Chiefs fans, good luck. Take care, folks. Enjoy your weekend. We'll talk soon.